Michael Massourakis joins us now from the Greek capital. Sir, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Greece wants to raise some 50 billion euros in these asset sales. I don't want to be terribly rude, but that's a bit of a joke, isn't it?
It's not a joke because there is so much potential. There is a lot of property that has been valued in the past to level something like 300 billion euros. And this is a conservative estimate. All it requires, however, is a determination on the part of the authorities to prepare these pieces of land for eventual sale or commercial exploitation and do it. It's a question of will and not a question of whether these properties are there or these properties are worth that much.
But there are so many major obstacles, not least hostile unions. You've got the public against them, and bureaucracy in Greece. It is a tangled web, and unleashing these assets, freeing them, could take years.
Yeah, I mean, this is right. This is right, but now we have reached rock bottom, I think, and there is no way forward unless we do all these things that are expected from us. And I think that the government is committed to change its ways. I know the markets have been disappointing again and again. A lot of things have happened in Greece. Nevertheless, this has not been reflected in the spreads. And of course, we are now in a situation where we started last year, when a bailout is being arranged and Greece is promising again that things will happen. I can understand the frustration about promises. But on the other hand, I think one has to be watching now the implementation of what will pass through the parliament in the next few days. If this implementation by September, October gives you a realistic expectation that the 7.5% to GDP deficit target for 2011 will be achieved, I think the markets may be a bit encouraged that things may be turning the right way.
All right,
of
Michael.
Course,
Perhaps some cause for optimism there. We'll talk about that crucial vote in just a moment, but I want to ask you about the Greek banks. How urgent is the situation for them right now? I mean, we are seeing people taking their money out of those banks.
Well, the deposit erosion of the Greek banking system has been steady, more or less since the beginning of 2010. Every now and then, every few weekends, when we see an acceleration of talk about bankruptcy, restructuring, etc., there are flare-ups and we see more deposits than usual flying out or being hidden in mattresses or whatever. The situation, of course, is very difficult because Greek banks are constrained not only from deposits but also from the markets. I mean, there is no access to the markets. The only access we have is to the ECB. The ECB does not want to increase its exposure to Greek banks. So the only way forward is deleveraging. But of course, deleveraging runs against debt sustainability down the road. So we are in a very dire predicament. And unless the government demonstrates that it can return to the markets, I think the situation is grave.
And talking about dire predicaments, Alpha Bank, the bank that you belong to, is one of the most seriously exposed. Looking at credit default swaps, it's costing more to insure the debt of your bank, the principal debt, than any other bank virtually in Greece. Do you recognise the desperately perilous position that your particular bank is in?
Well, our bank actually is in a much better position in terms of holdings of Greek government bonds. We have the lowest amount within the Greek banks of holdings of GGBs. We have something like 3.1 billion euros in GGBs, and we have a core tier 1 of 9.3%. So I think we can withstand a substantial haircut on whatever restructuring happens.
You can withstand a substantial haircut with a CCC rating and a negative outlook?
Well, all I'm saying is the numbers. What eventually may happen and how things will unravel, nobody can, nobody is able to put his finger on. All I'm saying is that we are a very conservative bank. We have very strong capital position. We have limited exposure to Greek government bonds. and therefore we are in a much better position to withstand any shock in the system. This does not mean that things are rosy.